You know who I am. I want you to know that I have continually made the error of turning off the recording after I've been doing these conversations. And of course, we have this great additional conversation at the end. This time, this blooper is actually filled with so much good information that I wanted to continue to share. I hope you enjoy the rest of this conversation that I had with Nancy Brune. Thank you. There's my record
We
button.
got sidetracked. We were talking about how homelessness, and we didn't even talk about education.
Well, we can do that right this minute.
Oh no, I'm totally fine. I know.
There was a point, and I had I was going to tie something back into education. And then something else came into my mind and it never came back. But one of the things that I think your ability to show, like bringing out the point on critical thinking, because that's one of the things education does that we don't value enough. We get so hung up on what you start thinking critically about, because the truth is, the more you become educated, the topics get bigger and broader. Once you've got the base education, you then do start adding things. And that's why people, I think, get mad, because generally topics aren't discussed. Like, it would not be uncommon to come home and just complain about there's homeless people over there, and they're just this entity. When you start learning more about different systems and how things may and think about them versus just emote towards them. Like, I don't like homelessness as much as anybody else. And that teacher in that car doesn't like homelessness either. But then there's the other segment of homelessness, the addiction level, that and those things that, that's not a homeless problem. It's an addiction problem long before it's a homeless problem. You can hide your addictions and be employed and have a house for a very long time.
Well, and the addiction is tied to mental health, right? So
right. And that's, like the thing that we never go into. So it really becomes interesting how critical thinking becomes demonized as much as education does. It's when you take in more variables, all of a sudden you're doing something wrong, because that's the unfamiliar.
Although, I mean, what's interesting is in the workforce development space, talking about job skills, they do emphasize critical skills thinking. But for a young person, I don't think they understand what that means, right? Like, what does that truly mean? I just spoke with an individual who's the CEO of a Fortune 50 company or Fortune 500, teaches at MIT. His recommendation, and he actually said this is sort of what people are doing nationally, is they are throwing out the resume. Because so the resume tells people I went to Yale, but I could be a total asshole or like not be able to like figure out how to get from A to B, right? So it's more just like, what are your sort of almost giving them problems in an interview to say, how would you apply this, right? What would this look like to you, just to test or to see their critical thinking skills live almost.
And and that's one of the things, like, at the end of the day, the Bill Gates and the Steve Jobs of the world, to name two that have name recognition, they were high school graduates. And so it is not about the level of education. It's about how you think at every level. And it is hard. Yeah, it is definitely hard. I know that I've been maligned for my education because someone is projecting towards me. I know that if I use certain terms, and so I become more sensitive, because language is my goal is not to offend. My goal is to inform and inspire. So no, if I'm hearing, and I do remember having this debate with my dissertation chair, because I feel academic language is insulary. I feel that
it's not accessible.
I mean, like, it truly only they were writing for each other to be critics to each other. They're not even nice people to each other when they write this stuff. And that was the craziest, part of the system that I had to learn. And it was like, everything that you read, I had to first translate it into my own understanding of words versus what they were trying to say. And boy, they were just really going out of their way to say stuff that they didn't need to end. And now I'll give you the big end. I respect that higher education has to be higher. That means the words have to get bigger. The fact that I'm not comfortable with the biggest words is me, doesn't mean that the system shouldn't keep raising itself up. I mean, whole words would leave the language if we didn't have higher education where people are using it. Everything doesn't have to be for everybody. Maybe they are supposed to only be writing for their group, but when it then, I equated it to insurance policies, that phase. I think it started in the 90s where insurance policies were forced to use common words.
Oh, interesting.
And there's actually laws passed so that when you read something,
you understand it.
Yes, what it is it's trying. And that was a big thing because you were signing your name away on insurance policies and had no clue what you were signing your name away on.
I mean, they're still pretty complicated. So I can only imagine, I'm scared to think about what it looked like prior to that.
Yes, that's true. Well, Nancy, again, thank you so much,
Andrea, for the invitation. I really appreciate it. And hopefully I'll see you next week at church.
Okay, so do you think that you'll be going this week? Because I'm debating.
I didn't think it was, I thought you said the 9th was the next one.
The 9th is the next one I'm definitely going to. And I haven't called. I could also go on Sunday, but I really don't want to go this Sunday.
Father Tom's not doing it, is he?
Father Joe is doing, so he's doing 12:30 on Sunday this week, and he's doing 4:00 on Saturday next week.
Okay. I might go then this week, actually. I may be able to do that.
Okay. And I didn't want to.
I loved him. Were you there when he just opened up talking about Ukraine? I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm home.
No, do you know he does that? So that's how he teaches. And if he could help the next generation learn, because from the time I encountered this man 20 plus years ago.
That's how long he's been there?
No. So he had Boulder City. For 30 years, he was the pastor at Boulder City.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Do you know whether Holy Spirit is part of the Nevadans for a Common Good? I
don't know.
Okay. You might be interested in that group. Have you heard of them?
Is that faith-based?
It's faith-based organizing.
No.
So do you remember Saul Alinsky, teach someone to fish as opposed to always giving them the fish? It's that organizing principle, and they organize by churches.
Huh.
So it's actually they really help push some of the payday lending legislation here, and they're really working on the housing crisis right now.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah. I'll ask.
All right. Well, thanks.
Thank you.
And I will text you Sunday morning if I think I'm going to go over.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
All right. Have a great Friday.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.